All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to talk about the upcoming movie Captain America Brave New World. Now, as you guys are aware, Captain America Brave New World has a lot of controversy surrounding it because, quite frankly, it's one of those movies that a lot of people just feels like it's just pandering at this point, right? It's virtue signaling. You are giving Captain America's mantle to obviously Falcon, who should have just stayed as Falcon, a character that people actually enjoyed, and now you're trying to make an odd hybrid between Falcon and Captain America. And I know there's people that are going to be like, well, it happens in the comics, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, you know for a fact that the way that the movie is portraying these things are not exactly for the comics. It's just the MCU pulling what the MCU always pulls. Now, the fact of the matter is, Captain America Brave New World is a movie that is not going to do well because according to the pre-sale numbers, it's showing that it's going to be worse than the Eternals or maybe even the Marvels. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this movie, Captain America Brave New World, is looking like it may potentially do worse than the Marvels, which is astronomically bad for the MCU and Disney, obviously, because let's be real, the Marvels was one of those movies that tanked so damn hard, it was a narrative confirmer, right? Not a narrative changer, a narrative confirmer, where we were telling people back then that this is not what people want, right? This is not what fans want from the MCU. This is not what viewers want in their movies. This is not what they want. The obvious virtue signal girl boss narrative that the Marvels had was not what people wanted. And they tried to say, well, Captain Marvel, the movie did well, and clearly that means that the sequel is going to do well. And it's like, no. What I tried to explain to people was that Captain Marvel was required reading for a lot of people when it came to the original MCU, and that is the only reason why that movie did over $1 billion, and that was confirmed with the sequel of the Marvels. So let's get into this article, guys, from That Part Plays. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So it says the latest box office update for Captain America Brave New World spells all too familiar trouble for Marvel Studios, as pre-sale tickets are tracking just 1.4 times better than the Marvels and on par with the Eternals. While this may sound like a slight improvement, on paper, it's a significant red flag for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I gotta be honest with you, it is, right? Even if it is tracking to do 1.4 times better than the Marvels, why are you trying to make a Captain America movie just do slightly better than a movie like the Marvels? A Captain America movie should be light years ahead of the Marvels, right? It should be so much bigger than the Marvels that it's not even close. It's not even, you can't even compare the two financially. And yet, somehow, some way, we are now in a world where Captain America is just barely better than the Marvels. And that's how it's tracking. It might not even end up that way. It might end up doing worse for all we know, or, it might do better. Who really knows? But at the end of the day, it just doesn't look that way. So it says, released in 2021, The Eternals mark Marvel's first major financial failure, grossing just $164.9 million domestically and $237.2 million internationally for a worldwide total of $402 million. The Eternals had a production budget of $236.2 million. Brave New World faces a much steeper climb with a rumored production budget between $350 and $375 million, over $100 million more than the Eternals at the lowest projection. This film could become a far bigger bomb, even if it performs similarly at the box office. Now, this movie has gone through an insane amount of reshoots. It is disgusting how much, I should say, how mismanaged this movie is. And in general, for the MCU, a lot of these projects are so heavily mismanaged that their budgets just skyrocket through the moon. It's astronomical how much money they're spending on these movies. And then you look at them and you realize, okay, the shills are going to say, well, a movie with a $300 million budget, if it made $350 million, that means that it pocketed $50 million. And they're going to tell you that because they know that they're lying to you. When the truth of the matter is, that number comparison only works under the assumption that the movie theaters work for free. You know and I know they do not. On average, movie theaters take almost about 50% from a ticket price, and sometimes overseas it takes more. Domestically, it might take a little bit less, but overall, it rounds out to about 50%. So when you're looking at movies like this that do about, let's say it does $300, $400 million, and it has a budget of $300 million. That means it's got to do about $600 million for it to break even on its budget. And that's not even factoring marketing, which is separate from the actual budget. This is why when I watch these shills online and they talk about this and they genuinely try to convince you that the movies are successful because it made XYZ over the budget, they don't understand how things work. Or genuinely, what I really think it is that they do understand how things work and they just don't want to tell you the truth. That's really what it's about. So anyway, this film could become a far bigger bomb even if it performs similarly at the box office. After factoring in marketing costs, which often equals the production budget and theater cuts of ticket sales, the movie will need to exceed $900 million globally to break even, according to some projections. And based on the current reports, Brave New World is unlikely to hit that target. This is insane. Like, I can't believe we live in a world that a Captain America film is going to flop like this. I really can't. I cannot believe it. But it's because, quite frankly, they don't care to give you the respect and give you the characters and the people that you actually want to see. The Marvel Cinematic Universe, the reason why I checked out of the MCU so long ago is, quite frankly, they just kept doubling down, tripling down, quadrupling down on giving you characters that nobody gives a crap about. And then on top of that too, they thought that they would really be able to sell these characters just based off the diversity of the characters. They thought that the character, because it's a woman, everybody would want to go and go watch it. They thought because the character was black or race swapped to black, that everybody would want to go watch it. They don't understand how to be able to prop up a new character by utilizing characters that people actually care about and give them a chance to shine when the time is right. They just wanted to throw them into their own movie and hope for the best. And that's not how this works. You can't be spending $200-300 million on a character that the majority of people do not care about, and just because you care about it and the message is good doesn't mean that it's going to actually succeed. So this is why I checked out of the MCU personally. You guys know I haven't cared about Marvel or anything like that for the longest time because, quite frankly, it's a joke. It's a massive joke. Everything that Marvel's doing is a joke for the most part. The last movie that they did that everybody actually liked was Deadpool and Wolverine, because again, they're characters that people actually care about. They're characters that people actually want to go watch and enjoy in a movie theater. So yeah, it's not shocking that that movie did well. Obviously, everybody predicted the movie was going to do well. But this movie, it's not looking very good. And I know what they're trying to do with it is they're trying to prop it up as like the next Black Panther, right? They're really hoping that the black audience really shows up and watches this film because they feel like they have to, otherwise they're not black. That kind of a thing, like what happened with Black Panther. But I don't really think that's going to be successful this time around. I think people can see through the facade. I think people can see through the virtue signal. And it's very clear that they're utilizing Falcon as a fake Captain America to try to push to everybody in the hopes that it's going to garner some sort of sales, when I really don't see that happening. And it looks like the analysts pretty much agree with everything I'm saying as well. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.